Well, good morning from Denver, Colorado. This is John Wren and the Startup Show. We're here each Friday morning. Did I say Monday morning? It's Friday morning at 10 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time, and we talk about startups, starting careers, new projects, new campaigns, and new businesses. What we look at is where do the ideas come from, and how do they go from that first idea to the first day on the job, the first customer. If you'd like to be on the show, give us a call. We'd love to have you on with us, 303-861-1447. We have guests on the show who can be with us in the afternoon at the Denver Idea Cafe Startup Workshop. And the Idea Cafe Startup Workshop, it's a praxis. People get together and share their experience and their ideas with each other. That's each Friday, just a block from the Colorado State Capitol, 13th and Grant and Panera Bread. And you can find out more about those things on the smallbizchamber.org website, or give us a call, 303-861-1447. Now, we are forming a new Franklin Circle group, and this may be the last one I ever personally organize and facilitate. I'll be staying with the group, and I will be not doing that anymore, but we're trying to recruit a Franklin Circle of people who would like to start a Franklin Circle. So this will be a group of Franklin Circle leaders, peer advisory groups based on a learning model, not a consulting model, where we're all seeking truth together, sort of a process consulting approach, where nobody is there as the expert. We're all there as common learners trying to, and then this particular group will be a group that will go out and do that in their own neighborhood or in their own industry. If you'd like to know more about that and an invitation to one of the information meetings, give me a call, 303-861-1447. The Small Business Chamber of Commerce, we'd like to help you do more good work. And I believe Macy has joined us today. Macy, welcome to the show. And I can't hear you. You might have your microphone on mute, Macy, except you've disappeared. Well, we had her there for a minute, didn't we? And she'll be rejoining us to talk about coaching, her coaching practice in Longmont, how she got into that, how she works with people. And we'll hope that she's able to work her way back into the show. Yeah, that looked like it was going to work, but it didn't. Now, we're also started a new Socrates Cafe. Socrates Cafes are really a lot of fun. And I think if you're not sure what direction you're going to take in the future with your work, they sometimes can be even more helpful in the Idea Cafe startup praxis. The Idea Cafe is very useful if you've got this inspiration and idea and you're trying to figure out how to do it. But if you just can't think of what to do, maybe the Socrates Cafe would help you. It's free and open to everybody. The new one's at the University of Denver, the Anderson Academic Commons, and we're at 6:30 Saturday in the current periodicals. If you Google Colorado Socrates Cafe Society, information about the DU group will come up, along with the other groups that are here in the Metro Denver area. If you have a similar group and you'd like us to put it on that website, we'd be glad to do it. So Colorado Socrates Cafe Society, take a look at it, and maybe we'll see you this Saturday night. We pick a topic at the meeting, and then after we've shared our thoughts on it, we take turns asking each other questions. We don't pre-announce the topic. There are no reading assignments, but it does stimulate a lot of thinking and reading after the meeting. So if you've got a topic you'd like to discuss, bring it, put it on the table. It might be the one we pick for the night. So the new DU, it's new Socrates Cafe at DU, Saturdays at 6:30 in the Anderson Academic Commons. Well, Macy, I hope she didn't have a fire or something like that. She was here with us briefly and is looking like maybe she's not going to be coming back. So let's talk about coaching and mentoring. There may be some people watching because that's what they had on their mind. And, nothing great was ever accomplished in isolation. I had relatives in Oklahoma who would talk about a turtle on a fence post. And the one thing you know for sure about a turtle on a fence post is the turtle didn't get there to the top of the fence post by itself. And most successful people are exactly like that. And, a lot of what happens with us depends on what happened before us. Certainly in our own family, sometimes families are a handicap and can hold people back, but most of the time, we are helped by our family, and the family passes the torch to the next generation. Or even if it has been sort of a dysfunctional family, dealing with a family sometimes is the greatest learning opportunity, so that lessons are learned that can be applied to the rest of life. And the family, if it hadn't been for that, I just read this really terrific book. I recommend it highly. And as a matter of fact, I found it at the University of Denver in the new books section, and liked it so much, I pursued my own copy, The Millionaire and the Bard. And The Millionaire, Henry Folger. This is by Andrea Mays. Andrea Mays, and this is one of the things that attracted me to the book. Andrea Mays is an economist. She teaches economics. And then she writes a book about Henry Folger. And the name Folger sounds familiar because of the coffee. And he was related, but apparently Folger Coffee Company had nothing to do with his great successes. As far as I could see from her book, there was no real connection. There were three brothers that went to San Francisco. Brother Jim started Folger's Coffee. Another brother stayed there and started a whaling oil business. But the other brother went back to where they had come from, back on the East Coast. That was Henry. And Henry had a son he named Henry. And the millionaire in The Millionaire and the Bard is Henry Folger. And Henry's father did not do well. He almost had to leave school because his father just couldn't continue to help him through school. But he decided to stay and work his way through, borrowed some money, went to work in a very humble position right after college, worked his way up to become the CEO of the largest industrial company in the world, probably that the world has ever seen or ever will see, I suppose. And it was a controversial company because of the trust busting that went on. And Henry accumulated a terrific amount of money. He developed an interest in Shakespeare memorabilia, started collecting, and to house his collection before he died, just before he passed away, constructed the Folger Shakespeare Library in Washington, D.C. It's right across the street from the Supreme Court building, just down the street from the Capitol. And I recommend the book highly. You read about Shakespeare. It's a biography of Shakespeare that's really interesting, and how he got started, which is a phenomenal story. And then Henry Folger's interest in collecting. Well, I think Macy is back with us.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, indeed. And we're glad to have you here. And Macy, I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Okay.
Tell people how you ended up in Longmont. You recently came there. Why Longmont? And now you do mentoring. Tell us about that. I'm just going to let you tell people who you are. And I think you've got an interesting Facebook page. I've spent a little bit of time on it, but I want to learn more about you myself. So,
well, great. Thank you. Basically, my name is Macy, and my company is called Big Happy Love. And one of the reasons why I ended up in Longmont was really just because it was a central place for both my husband and I to have our businesses. And my business is national, so it's not limited to any specific location. But Yeah, and I'm a new entrepreneur. So my company's only been around for a year. And I really came to it in reflection for this call. I was thinking about it, and I've spent many years going back and forth from doing my creative things that I love and going back into corporate world, and that's been a pattern. So I finally figured out how to do my work and profit from it.
Now, you and your husband moved to Longmont about a year ago. What led you to choose Longmont?
Well, I was living in Denver. He was living in Boulder, and he has a chiropractic practice in Boulder that's doing really well. So he wasn't interested in moving to Denver. And then we just decided that we wanted to explore somewhere new. And Longmont has been kind of a sweet surprise in that it offers, I mean, it has an artist community, it has a spiritual community, it's growing, and we were able to find a space that we really liked. So it was a central location because he's going into Boulder a lot.
But you originally were from the East Coast.
Yeah, I'm from New Hampshire, and he's from Queens.
Or you went to school on the East Coast. Maybe that's why that's sticking in my mind.
Well, I went to college in Iowa, actually. I went to a small college called Cornell College, where you do one course at a time.
You know, I did Cornell before it was one course at a time.
Yeah, you did?
I did. And I was there for 2 years, 1965 through 67, and that was a great experience. And then they in Colorado College, I think, are the only two schools in the country that have this one course at a time approach. Did you like that?
I loved that. I really feel like it was a great way, especially for me. I was doing art and theater, so I was able to really immerse myself in those things. And in that space, when you have, you know, specifically like language classes or science classes or art classes, when you have the full month where you're spending all day in that vocation or whatever, you really get to experience what it would be like to, you know, live that.
Now, where did you go to high school?
In Concord, New Hampshire.
So you were in New Hampshire growing up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. And then came to Cornell College and then kept going west after Cornell to Denver?
Yeah, well, actually, I detoured to London, England for a year where I did a master's in puppetry art.
Ah.
Very valuable.
Well, tell us just the sort of the Reader's Digest version about your career after Cornell College, after going abroad to get the master's degree. How'd you get started? How did it lead you to the point that you're at now? What happened in the past?
Well, it's interesting because I really, really am a creative person. So as soon as I got out of grad school, I was touring the Midwest doing teaching and puppetry teaching, basically, and performing in schools and programs all over. So, but I was really making $800 a month to do that. So that was really stressful. So then I came to Colorado and I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to do whatever it takes. And I started temping and I ended up learning about project management. So my career started in project management, which, you know, took me on and off through a lot of different jobs, but it was a way that I could make decent money. And it's actually a skill that's been super helpful for me in my, you know, business ventures over the years. I've had a couple failed ones, but this one seems to be working out. So I'm super grateful for those skills that I could, you know, take in. And then I evolved more into change management, which is really focusing on how organizations change. And that was something that I really liked. And then that kind of started merging with the things that I like creatively, because I was studying yoga and meditation and doing all this stuff. And I recognized that there really is a science to how people change. And that's where it led me to coaching. And in the coaching, I really get to still be organized as a project manager in a sense, but use the science of change management and yoga and meditation to help women kind of get out of their old patterns. And I use a lot of creative tools too. So it merged everything.
Now, not by name, but your very first time doing coaching, what was that like?
It was interesting because I feel like I started doing it sort of informally. I mean, I sort of have that natural coaching in me. I think certainly when I was in technical project management, one of the really important skills you have to have as a manager in that space is that you need to be able to communicate with really technical kind of introverts, and then you also need to be able to communicate with your business partners and the clients, which often, aren't specifically technical, they just want an outcome. So I felt like I was really starting it as early as in my project management days, because it was like, okay, how do I take these concepts and translate things? And then when I started officially coaching, it was really because I had a crisis in my life in terms of finding my husband. Like it took years and years and years. Once I figured that out, my single friends around me were like, how did you do that? Like obviously things changed for me. And then I was coaching a lot of people in my yoga classes, and then it evolved into an actual business.
And so it's one client at a time. You were doing your project management, doing some coaching informally, had something happen in your life that made you start thinking about how could I structure this into a practice, and one thing's led to another. And you do a lot of your coaching on the internet?
Well, it's all on the phone. It's on the phone, but it's also a lot of different layers of training and content. So thankfully for my project management background, I was able to bring in like setting up training materials and content that, is on the internet and is delivered in different ways, and then offering videos, audios, handouts, yoga, meditation. So there's a real dynamic to the way people engage in the program that I created, because it really is about, you can talk about things and get into it logically, but until you kind of shake it out of your body and work with the subconscious stuff that's in your body, that takes coming in a couple different doorways, not just talking about it logically.
Well, give us an example of that. You may not want to give us the names, but something that came up in coaching, how you worked with it, and what were the results?
Yeah, that's good. I mean, for example, let me think. There's a lot of fears and beliefs that people experience that are so wired into their psyche that's all they can see. So one of the really kind of simple ways of sharing this is, helping people do some experiments. And in doing that, they're kind of getting out into the world with a new set of glasses on. Like one of my clients, she really had this longing to be in a relationship that felt really worldly and culturally connected. Like she really liked talking about global things, and she loved people of all different ethnic backgrounds, and that was really kind of a passion for her. But she had this belief that there weren't any couples out there, that was never, that wasn't a possibility, that it was super rare that there would be people who had relationships, that were mixed kind of cultures and traveling a lot and all this kind of thing. So she did an experiment and she came back like within days and she was like, I can't believe how many couples I see out there that, you know, really do have that, you know, cultural mesh, you know. So that was one. And, you know, other times I had another client who just through the meditation practice was able to just release a lot of fears. And that's kind of effortless in a sense, because you're doing a practice that is intended to do that. And she just noticed that, you know, her thoughts and her beliefs were shifting.
So the meditation, she had a problem, you taught her to meditate and it changed things for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, how long does it take someone to meditate using your approach? I've studied meditation. I did transactional, transactional.
Oh, transcendental meditation.
Meditation. I've done Christian centering prayer. I've done a whole bunch of different approaches. But with the way that you approach meditation, how long does it take someone to start meditating? It's pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, I've created a bunch of videos, you know, that they can use, and they're free for anyone on YouTube anyway.
Oh.
But the practice I do is called Kundalini Yoga. So this practice is very different than some other meditation practices. So the one thing that I noticed that is different is that there are a lot of different kind of focuses that you'll have. Like you may be doing something with your hands, you may be focusing mentally on something, your eyes are focusing somewhere, your breath is a specific thing you may be chanting. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different kind of pieces that come together. And the way it works is that, you know, specific meditations have a specific outcome. So it's almost like a prescription. And it's really like, from what I've been reading, I almost want to call it neurosculpting because it matches that more than meditation sometimes. And so, for example, one of the meditations we do is really specific for kind of clearing out those old relationships. I mean, a lot of times as we get older, we're collecting fears, beliefs, you know, energy around these relationships, but then we're navigating in a way that isn't really true for us. So instead of like knowing what's real for us, we're responding to, I don't want that again. Or, and this is subconscious, like I definitely don't want that again. Oh, well, that hurt me really bad before. And then you can see where it would be sort of psychic zigzag in your energy field. So this kind of clears that so that you're projecting yourself in a way that then people are responding to the true you. Hopefully that makes sense.
Sure.
But essentially, Kundalini yoga meditations are really like recipes. You want a chocolate cake, you put these ingredients in it. You want to have prosperity, you'll have these specific ingredients in the meditation.
How did you learn yourself?
Well, this is interesting because it came to me when the last time I started a business. I had a retail business. It was for pets. It was a gift store. I mean, it was a complete disaster because I didn't get any help. I thought I couldn't fail. I just was 100% convinced that I figured it out. And when that failed, not only did I lose a ton of money, I had to sell my houses and like a lot of different things. The only thing I had was yoga to keep me sane. So I was going to the studio, but the only time I could go was when there was this Kundalini yoga class. And honestly, I was really disappointed. I was really kind of pissed because I was like, that's not what I want to do. I wanted to do real yoga. And so I started doing this and I recognized I was leaving happy. it wasn't that type A yoga, but I was leaving happy and things started to change for me. Like a lot of things in my life started changing. I was like naturally letting go of bad habits. And I recognized, I mean, within a year of doing that practice, my life was totally different. And that was the hardest year of my life, losing everything. And I didn't even know like who I was. I mean, that was who I was, my business. And so I'm so grateful for that because I recognize that this is one of the most powerful transformational tools in the world. And it's growing and growing and growing. And that's why I made it a foundational piece of my program to help women find love because, you know, this can really almost effortlessly in a way move them faster through, you know, letting go of these old patterns.
Yeah, who are you looking for? Who do I visualize as your ideal client? Who, when you pick up the phone, you say, yes, this is someone I can really help?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it's usually women like, you know, 35 and up who are recognizing that they've spent years collecting failed relationships and aren't where they want to be. I mean, maybe they wanted to have a family and that didn't happen, or maybe they've been divorced and they're just sick of meeting these people that aren't matching them, and they're realizing that there is more to life when you're in a healthy, loving partnership. So they're usually professional women. They're often like spiritually curious and willing to be a little creative, but really their main thing is that they long to be in a relationship and it hasn't happened.
Now, you've got free video online, you say. How do people connect with that?
Oh yeah, it's really easy. My YouTube channel is just called Macy Macy Big Happy Love is the YouTube channel. And that has a lot of great, I mean, it has some stuff about the work that I do, but I also offer all my yoga videos for free. So there's a yoga meditation for prosperity, super powerful. Another one that helps with insomnia, and a class for releasing inner anger, which seems to be the most popular one. So people are free to like watch those whenever they want. And if they're interested in the relationship piece, they can always reach out to me, and I do what I call a getting to love session with people where they can uncover that block that's keeping them single. And that's really something I'm really good at. So once they know that, then they have a place to start.
If someone has a question, can they give you a call?
Yeah, of course.
So what's your number? What's your phone number?
It's 720-373-6506. And it's Macy@bighappylove.com. So I'm open to anything. I mean, this is really an important thing for me because I struggled for many years. I didn't become a first-time bride till I was 43, and I really did meet the man, an adorable little guy who's so loving. And so this is so important to me. So to me, yes, it is my work. It's very important, but the power, and I'm sure you hear this all the time, the power of having that like experience and that passion for, you know, knowing that you can help someone in this way is what really drives my creativity and my business and influences, you know, my coaching. And I'm so thankful for that because I was so done with being in corporate America.
Well, Macy, thank you for being here with us today. Your passion comes across, and you know, go Cornell Rams, huh?
I am so impressed. That was just a miracle in itself. Yeah, go Rams.
Well, we have guests on the show each week. If you'd like to be a guest with us here, give us a call, 303-861-1447. We focus on startup, starting a new career, a new project, a new campaign, or a new business. And in the afternoon, guests like Macy meet with us face-to-face at our Denver Idea Cafe startup praxis. And so Macy will be with us. It's 2 o'clock, Panera Bread, 13th and Grant, just a block from the Colorado State Capitol. So we'll see you in just a few minutes down there at Panera Bread, Macy.
Yeah, I can't wait. See ya.
Now, this show is a project of the Small Business Chamber of Commerce. Our intention is to cooperate with local chambers to provide more real help for startups and very small businesses. And if you'd like to have us work with your local chamber, give us a call. We're just looking for ambassadors who would be the connection between what we're doing online and your local chamber. If that's of possible interest to you, we'd love to talk with you. Another project is rencollege.org. We're going to use self-directed learning techniques to make content available for people that are starting that will help them get off to the fastest possible start. You know, my favorite book now, other than my own little book, which is more of a pamphlet, it's on Amazon.com. If you Google John Wren, Daring Mighty Things, it comes right up. It's very inexpensive, but the book that I really recommend and am enthusiastic about now is called Just Start. It's Harvard Business Review Press. Just Start, I think, could change your life because it really, I think, in a powerful way, communicates the essence of how businesses actually get started. It was written by president of Babson College, which every year is ranked #1 in entrepreneurship, and Charlie Kiefer, who's all through Peter Senge's books. Charlie's done a lot of really interesting things. And the whole idea of Just Start is that you just start. So if you want to start a business, how do you do it? Well, you get up, what do you want to do? What can I do today to move towards that? And each day is a learning experience as you move gradually closer to the goal. You know, businesses just don't start the way the SBA says that they should start. They, if they did, we'd have a planned economy, not the market economy that we have today. And Just Start captures the essence of that process. Harvard Business Review Press, Just Start, and take a look at it. So we'll be back next Friday morning, 10 a.m. to talk about startup. And remember, this life is very short, so let's go get started.